Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm Jonathan Banks. Today is Monday, July 19th. Good morning. Welcome to the Strategy Tech and Food Show. This is the restaurant focused technology show where we talk to leading industry stakeholders and restaurant operators themselves. This show is brought to you by the St. Paul Restaurant Resiliency Program, and I'm your host, Jonathan Banks. In just a few moments, we'll talk with Tyler from Clover to discuss how their organization is fueling a vibrant restaurant scene in the city of St. Paul. Tyler Tran coming up in just a moment. But first, let's talk about a little bit of news. Um, I want to bring you some news from the St. Paul Restaurant Resiliency Program, where we've helped over 50 restaurant owners take on the digital marketing, ordering, and delivery changes needed to make it through these last few really difficult years. We currently have 18 restaurants active in the program. I want to welcome our newest program participant, Ginkgo Coffee House. With their 3 locations in St. Paul, they're making a lot of really great efforts to improve their marketing, their digital marketing, and improve their point of sale as well. So go ahead and check out ginkgocoffee.com or visit one of their 3 locations in St. Paul to learn more about Ginkgo Coffee House. Also, I want to give a big shout out to our friends from Land O'Lakes. They've been doing a lot of help through their volunteerism, corporate volunteerism, and providing direct assistance to restaurants in St. Paul through the Restaurant Resiliency Program. So, Kevin Dalke, Mr. Amod, Nicole Vargas, Jackie Burke, Megan Brenhofer, thank you so much for the help you've been providing restaurants so far, and we look forward to further collaboration between the St. Paul Restaurant Resiliency Program and Land O'Lakes. Here's a little bit of news happening around town. So, if you haven't heard yet, I just want to share with folks that St. Paul based Hope Breakfast Bar is opening up a location in St. Louis Park, actually in the west end of St. Louis Park. So go ahead and visit their location in St. Paul. Go ahead and visit them in St. Louis Park as well. Brian and Sarah Ingram have been making a lot of really important, providing a lot of really important support for quite a while now, providing free meals, donating a portion of their proceeds, and now they're expanding into St. Louis Park. So support them, get out and check out Hope Breakfast Bar. Also, I wanted to note some news coming out of Denord is that they are in full swing of unionizing their production team. And so that's, there's been a lot of talk about unionizing in hospitality, and looks like Local 17 is going to incorporate production workers from Denord Craft Spirits coming up, and the CEO Chris Montana is very favorable of that move. So that's very interesting news coming out of Denord. Okay, well, little bit of news, lots of good food to eat. I also wanted to point out just a few. Another restaurant which I wanted to point out that is in St. Paul here, and you've got to check this place out if you haven't yet. It's Hot Hands Pie and Biscuit. They're on 272 Stilling Avenue, and when I took a look at their menu, I was just absolutely floored about all the different varieties of biscuit style sandwiches that they have available there, and even have one of the things that we've really advised restaurant operators to take advantage of. They're doing it here. So throughout the pandemic, we always talked about, hey, how can you diversify your revenue if you're a restaurant? And one of the ways to do that was to offer DIY kits or take-home kits, and you can get those at Hot Hands if you want to make their biscuits. If you want to make cinnamon rolls, they've got some DIY kits that you can take home. I see they got a Hot Hands candle biscuit set here too. So lots of options from Hot Hands Biscuits in St. Paul. Okay, well, that's the news for today. Why don't we go ahead and welcome our guest today. I'm going to welcome Tyler Tran from Clover. Tyler uh, with Clover provides an all-encompassing cloud-based point-of-sale system that can be scaled to your needs, and they handle all of a restaurant's needs through their app application marketplace for online ordering, inventory management, and even employee payroll. Hey, Tyler, welcome. How are you doing today?
Hi, doing great. Happy to be here. How are you?
Great. It's great to have you here. It's great to have you here. I know you've been a friend of the program for quite a while and have provided support in a lot of different ways to restaurants in the city. Um, I wanted just to start by asking a pretty simple question here, and that is what problems do you help your customers solve?
When it comes to clothing, I think the big side of is really just not one problem, but really kind of focusing on taking all the different problems they have together and putting it into like one platform. So typical POS systems are really used to some of these older models, the old school systems where it just focuses on purely on probably just table management and making sure that we're collecting tabs, right? With Clover, we're really focused on going a little beyond that on a full cloud-based system. So now we can do table-side service and all these other things that you actually already mentioned. So we can rope in payroll, we can do inventory management, making sure that restaurants can purely focus on what they're good at is creating really great food options. And we're focused on the backside of that, making it as easy as it can for them.
Yeah, what type of equipment is that? Is that just
Our
point of sale, or is it all on web? How does that work?
Yeah, our flagship would be the Clover Station. That is a front-facing touchscreen that has a cash box on it that actually flips around so the customers can type in their tip amounts. They can do the signatures right on there, which alleviates a lot of those receipts. As well as we do have, it's a full cloud-based system, so we can do receipt boxes as well. We can have a whole separate mini Clovers that we can bring to all the table sides. And it's all cloud-based, so it's fully reactive all the time, real time. So we don't have to go back and report at the end of the night and figure out where things at when it comes to batching out.
That sounds really great. And so, you're helping with online ordering, you're helping with inventory managing, you're even helping with payroll. What are some of the ways that you help solve those problems?
So I'm sure you guys have walked into some of these smaller, medium-sized business restaurants, and you walk in and you can see their normal POS, or even they might just have a normal card swiper. And then you'll see right next to that, you'll see their old cash box with all their pricing on it. And then next to that, you'll see 2 to 3 different iPads or little tablets, and they're all housing Grubhub, and then one's for Yelp, and then one's for Uber Eats. What's really nice about the app market that we have is you can plug all those into one screen. So now we don't have a big cluster or what they call Frankenstein kind of system. It's a very sleek, small platform where we can see all of it at once.
So, when it
So,
comes to online ordering,
mhm,
you can
that's
combine all of those platforms into Clover.
exactly. Yep. So now we can really eliminate all these different equipment and just focus on living in one realm. Uh, and going beyond that, with all these restaurants, a really big part of that is turning into employees all the time. A lot of part-time things, you have to spend all that time getting used to that. Or you have a manager that comes around that focuses on one of the tablet, and everyone else is working on the other things over here. So this way, we can just simplify it and bring it into one platform.
Very cool. What about for? I want to talk more about the employees because that's a huge emphasis right now. Um, Hiring, recruiting, all of those things happen, I believe, probably mostly outside of your system. But what does it look like for new employees learning Clover?
Recently, we have partnered with Paychex. Are you saying on how they get used to Clover? Sorry.
Yes, and I also liked where you're going with paychecks. So maybe we can get to that next. But let's talk about like employees learning how to use Clover and then move on to paychecks.
So once you kind of get signed into everything, it kind of pops up, and once you have, let's just use Uber Eats for instance. Once it gets plugged into there, they'll talk to the kitchen printers in back. We're not having all these different systems and the employees running back and forth and trying to keep back order. It comes in just like a normal order. So the back kitchen will see it as if there's somebody ordering the front. So that really eliminates all the training that we need to for these new employees. And one of the biggest bonuses that we have is our Clover Help Center. So right on the Clover, if you have any problems, they can swipe to the right and they can go help, and they'll pull up a list of 5 things. And instead of one of the employees or the manager sitting on hold for the next 20 minutes trying to get hold of somebody, what Clover does is our team will give you guys a call once we know that we're the right person to talk to, and give you a call so we can just get on the phone and figure it out right away. And we have all the ability to go in and remotely go through things for them. So when it comes to trainings, it's not something you know, and the manager's busy. You can call the line, they'll remote in, and they'll show you exactly the steps you need to, let's say, modify an order.
Wow, that's super helpful, especially in a busy restaurant, or especially when manager might have a multiple locations that they need to provide support at. That sounds super, super helpful. Now, you were going on to talk about Paychex. What was that about?
Yeah, so you're talking about the other parts about hiring and whatnot. We partnered with Paychex, so we actually take care of all the payroll. So as someone onboards, we can get them launched into the system, and we don't have to worry about opening up QuickBooks and all these other different platforms to really manage our employees. We can do that within the Clover dashboard with Paychex, as well as on our App Center. A very common one is 7 shifts. So that it really goes into making sure they're all clocked in. So all employees, they can clock in. It has a face scan, a thumb scanner, or they can type in a code to clock in, so we can know who's on time, who's getting overtime, and all stuff like that.
Well, that sounds really great. You know, fewer operational systems you have to work with, more integrations. That's really helpful, so we can focus on running our restaurants the best way we possibly can. Um, okay, well, I want to see just how people feel after they've been working with you. I mean, you go ahead, a new point of sale system is a big deal, or maybe you're having an issue with the Clover that you have right now and you're using support. But you know, once people start using the Clover system, how do they usually feel?
They love it. I have a good family friend of mine, and we got his Clover. I went in there a week later just to check on see how he was doing, and I actually caught him bragging to somebody else, one of the customers, a usual customer, saying how cool it was that he finally had the tap pay and that it was wireless and he could bring it wherever he wanted. He had one of the photos. It's really cool to see him use it. There's obviously growing pains as we get started in the new system, figuring out how to tap that. But once we get through that, it really, really makes life a lot simpler so they can focus on, like I said earlier, making really good food.
Great, great. Well, great. I would love to hear if folks want to get a hold of you to talk about Clover or anything else. What's the best way to do that?
This would be to go through my email, t.tran@paymentsmith.com would be the best option. We can talk about all closures, and we also can work on customized pricing for that. That'll be part of it. But otherwise, I have my phone next to me at all times, so you can give me a call at 320-249-5336.
Okay, and maybe we'll post that information so people can see it as well. Are there, as far as Clover goes, are there any promotions, or maybe should we check social media? Is there any way to follow the company themselves?
Yep, you can follow us at Payment Smith at Instagram. We're also on Facebook as well. But it's always a revolving door of a new promotion. So I think it's definitely give me a call, and we can see whatever we have going on currently. The other thing too is make sure we're mentioning the resiliency program. So we have customized pricing just for you guys. We're really not done with pricing. Make sure that we're at.
Okay. Well, that's really good to hear. I thank you for joining us today, Tyler, and sharing all this information about Clover. I know we've got several restaurants in the program who are on Clover as well, so seems to be a viable option for many, and we seem to have an expert among us if anybody needs help getting started. So really thank you for sharing all that with us, Tyler, and thanks for being here today.
Thanks for letting me come by. I highly encourage you guys also go to clover.com. Especially, I think the biggest thing is getting to the app market. You can actually go to clover.com/app market. You can really see all the things that we can utilize to pull everything together. And then once we're ready, feel free to come on over to me and we can do that.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Why don't you hang on for a second here? We'll chat some more. But first, I'm just gonna wrap up the show. I just want to thank the audience for joining us today, everybody who's been here. We really appreciate you joining us every week. Stay tuned next week, Monday, same time, same place. We're going to actually be talking about Facebook with our friends from Facebook about how you can use Facebook to promote your restaurant and bring more customers in. We thank everybody for joining.